Today I'm going to show you how I make this really cool round candle holder with no lathe. Sometimes you might just want to sit on the porch, light a candle for bugs or ambiance or just that sweet, sweet citronella smell. But this looks like butt. No offense, Murph. So I figure I'll make something a little bit classier that I can put my candle inside of. If I'm making an outdoor project, I kind of want a wood that's gonna be pretty good for being outdoors. So I'm over here staring at my lumber rack like I'm gonna magically find cedar that I rarely ever use. Apparently I don't have any cedar, but I do have a whole lot of white oak. And white oak is really good for outdoor stuff because it's pretty rot resistant. Thing is getting access to said white oak, that's a whole other story. These slabs look heavy. I don't want to move all of these just to get one piece of wood. Oy. Essentially, I need a big cylinder for this to fit into, and well, that's easy if you have a lathe, but it's not easy if you don't own a lathe like me. So instead, I'm gonna do it manually. I'm gonna take a router and route out a big hole for this to fit in, but I don't have a router bit that's big enough for me to do that. So instead, I'm gonna take my pieces, I'm gonna cut them up into more manageable sizes, route out each one of those, and then if I stack them all together, I should be able to get something of what I'm looking for without actually having to own a lathe. I can take my pieces and find a center point, and then I like to take a drill bit or something sharp and just make a little dimple right in that center area. Now I can draw out where I want to have my circle at. So I'm going to draw like an interior circle, and then I'll draw an exterior circle, and I know how to line up my router bits so that I can ultimately route out my cylinder pieces. I got 4 blocks. I've got a couple of thicker ones and then a couple of thinner ones. So here's my plan. I'm going to take enough double-sided tape to basically restrain a rhino. And stick this down on my board here. And I've got my circle cutting jig. I'm gonna cut out a circle on the outside of it, get rid of that. Then while it's set up, cut one on the inside. So it's basically to give me a big cylinder with a hole that the candle will fit inside of. And then once all that's done, I can glue them all together and make something out of it. Let's hope. My router bit was not long enough to cut all the way through this, so I just went as far as I could and then grabbed a piece of MDF and put a nail in it. And I'm going to use that pivot hole that I just made whenever I was doing my circular jig, stick that in there and spin this up against my disc sander till all of this is smooth, sanded, and then I can go over to the bandsaw and just bzz. I got a couple rings that I'm gonna glue together. That's to house the candle. And then I figured it'd be a good idea to have an area where you put matches at. So I took one of the other circles that I cut, and that's gonna go underneath here. So I'm gonna go over to the bandsaw, cut out a notch that is big enough for a box of matches to go into. Then I can glue all of these pieces together. Gonna apply a little bit of glue to this. All right, time to clamp this dude down. It's all glued together, sanded, looks good. Now I need to make a lid for it. So I've got one of the circles that I cut out. I'm gonna take this rabbiting bit over to the router table and try to route out underneath this so it will fit down into my cup. What are you? Candle holder, that's it. And then after it fits into place, I'm gonna do some sanding to try to like sand it all flush with the outside of the candle holder. Outdoor finishes are a little bit tricky, right? Because it's kind of subjective. It really depends on where you live at and what the climate's like there and all of that. So for mine, I'm not gonna go crazy. I'm not gonna go like apply a marine varnish to this or anything. I'm just gonna apply some teak oil because, well, it's made for outdoor use. And then I figure if it looks dull, I can easily just sand it and apply a new coat later on and make it look not so dull. Pretty cool. And now that I look at it, I think I could have done some sort of engraving around the sides to customize it, but hey, maybe next time. Hopefully you enjoyed this project, and until we meet again, get in your shop and build something awesome.